7. Barrett outside the switch. Doncic goes over. And then he hammers it home. Broke his ankles.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. I hope you guys are doing well. The New York Knicks are set to take on the Charlotte Hornets tomorrow night after coming off of a back-to-back, beating the Philadelphia 76ers, missing a lot of key pieces, such as Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid, Matisse Thybulle. You had an Isaiah Joe that was missing off the bench from Arkansas. He could really shoot the basketball. And then now we're taking on the Charlotte Hornets, like I just mentioned. They're a 6-7 basketball team, but they're a lot better than 6-7, at least in my opinion. They started off the season pretty well, I believe, but we're still early into the season, so like you could say like they started off well like the first 3 or 4 games, I believe, but they've been falling off lately when they're starting to get to that 9-10 mark. But they have a lot of talent. They're going to be at home, and I just believe the New York Knicks don't match up well versus the Charlotte Hornets. Or you could say right now the New York Knicks don't match up well against any NBA team because we haven't been playing good basketball, plain and simple. If it's a lack of like allowing offensive rebounds, not crashing the glass, inconsistent ball movement, not shooting it well from beyond the arc, not being able to guard the three-point line. It's been awful. Just the starters not playing well as well. And the Hornets, they play extremely fast. They're a team that loves moving the basketball. You could say maybe their Achilles heel is defensively, but the Knicks aren't a good defensive team either. I'm sorry if I'm coming across negative. The Knicks just haven't been playing good basketball lately at all, and there's some mismatches in my opinion when it comes to starting lineup, at least so far throughout the season. And I actually like their bench. They have a couple nice bench pieces as well that I think that are going to contribute nicely to this Hornets team, and I really do think Obi Toppin should get more time in this game to bring energy off the bench. Rose, I think he matches up better against a LaMelo Ball, because when you look at these lineup matchups, Kemba Walker versus LaMelo Ball, see, I hate to say it, but Kemba Walker, it's early throughout the season. He had a couple good games, but Kemba Walker is not going to cut it, obviously, as our long-term point guard or even for these next 2 seasons. Kemba Walker, he doesn't even look like 60% of himself, if I'm being real. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. His knees aren't good. He can't get down low to the ground. He can't perform those certain moves in his arsenal that he had before. He can't dribble penetrate. He just can't break guys down off the dribble. It's sad to see, because I really loved watching Kemba Walker's highlights at UConn. I really love seeing him in a Hornets uniform, but lately with the Celtics, or when he was with the Celtics and now when he's with the Knicks, he's just not performing well. And when he doesn't get it going offensively, when he's not able to dribble penetrate or knock down shots, he's kind of a lost cause out there because he does not perform well on the defense side of the basketball. And another guy that we picked up this offseason, Evan Fournier, he hasn't been playing well. He had a couple games lately that he started off very well, and then he was a no-show in the second half. And last night, he was just a no-show in general in those limited minutes of 18 minutes when the bench played very well and Evan Fournier did not come in. But you look at the matchup between like LaMelo Ball up against Kemba Walker. LaMelo Ball has length. He's going to be able to stop a Kemba Walker on the offense side of the basketball, and I even think that's an underrated part of his game. LaMelo Ball has gotten better defensively, and there's some shooters in the starting lineup as well. Like LaMelo Ball has been shooting 38% from beyond the arc. He's someone that's going to be able to dribble penetrate all day on Kemba Walker, get the defensive collapse, kick it out to a Miles Bridges most improved player candidate, kick it out to a Gordon Hayward, find a Miles Plumlee or a Mason Plumlee inside. Like, he's a threat from the outside. He's a threat driving down the lane, just using that shiftiness, that great crossover of his. Like, he has some finesse around the basket. He even has some athleticism. Like, he's a crafty player, and I really like watching him play. But he's definitely going to kill us when it comes to getting out and running, just pushing the pace in the half-court setting. I hope the Knicks are well-conditioned entering this game. Obviously, we have Tom Thibodeau as our coach, but hopefully we're not tired entering this game, because I think that's definitely going to hurt us if we're not ready to get out and run. Because I could see it now, LaMelo Ball pushing the pace, throwing it ahead to a Miles Bridges, his freakish athleticism, averaging over 20 points per game. That's going to be a tough matchup for Julius Randle. But I feel like Kemba Walker stands no chance against LaMelo Ball. I think Derrick Rose is going to do a solid job out there. When Derrick Rose is locked in and disciplined on defense, he is a solid defender or an underrated defender. But when he's not locked in, he's not a good defender, because you could say he doesn't have a crazy big-time physical profile. He's strong, so he is a liability when he's not trying out there. But I do believe he's going to be able to get buckets and kind of keep LaMelo Ball in check a little bit. But LaMelo Ball, one of the best young players in the league. And then you take a look at the two position. Fournier, he might even struggle on the defense side of the basketball versus Terry Rozier. I know Terry Rozier has not been efficient, especially from beyond the arc. He has been shooting in the 20%. He's not even shooting 27 or 28% from 3, where he actually might be shooting that. And Fournier, I've been saying this all the time, He cannot settle for jumpers, and you could say the shot creation hasn't been good this season. I thought we had upgrades of Kemba Walker and Fournier, at least a little bit when it comes to shot creation. It has not been there. Like Fournier, he's been settling for jumpers. Kemba Walker's been settling for jumpers. But if this is one game, Fournier needs to attack Terry Rozier. Terry Rozier isn't a crazy tall player. You could say he's undersized for the 2 position, but I do think Fournier is going to struggle on defense. Like, Terry Rozier is pretty shifty. He's athletic going to the basket despite him being small, and he has a lot of elevation on his jump shot. He's a streaky player. He's either going to go like 2 for 18 one night, or he's going to have a night that he goes like 8 for 12. He can get hot in a hurry, and we cannot allow open opportunities outside on the perimeter. They are a pretty versatile offensive ball club. You could say their Achilles heel is kind of their defense. And then you take a look at the 3 position when it comes to the matchup. Gordon Hayward versus RJ Barrett. Again, we've been struggling guarding the 3-point line. Gordon Hayward shooting at a 37 to 38% clip. We already know he's a versatile offensive player. He's extremely smart. He has good hands on the defense side of the basketball. RJ Barrett's been struggling lately. Like, you could say this overall starting lineup. You look at Julius Randle. Yes, he had a good game versus Philly, but he's had inconsistent games. Like the one game, I believe it was up against Toronto, killed it in the first quarter. Non-existent the rest of the game. You could say he has been more locked in on the defense side of the basketball, but he's had his moments that he took us out of games with turnovers, bad shots, just not passing the ball and being decisive. Like, he's passed the ball, but just not being decisive and making the quick reads and just allowing the second man of the double team coming. But this is going to be a tough matchup. RJ Barrett versus Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward's been in the league for a very long time with the Jazz, with the Celtics, now with the Charlotte Hornets. He's an NBA veteran, and he still plays at a very high level, and he's been playing well for the Charlotte Hornets. So is RJ Barrett going to be able to use that physicality working down the lane? Because I think this is another game, like, RJ can't settle. Obviously, he could shoot from beyond the arc if left open, but I'm not expecting him to be able to break Gordon Hayward down, like, off the dribble, shoot jumpers off the dribble, but I do feel like RJ should be able to attack, even though I do think Mason Plumlee is an underrated shot blocker. And that actually brings me, like, to another reason here. Like, this is, like, one of the only ways we match up well versus this team. It's the rebounding. Like, and I can't believe I'm saying that because we've been getting killed on the boards. Julius Randle's actually our leading rebounder, averaging over 10 rebounds per game. But their leading rebounder, Mason Plumlee, is not even averaging 8 rebounds per game. I believe he's averaging around 7.5. But it also comes down to, like, how hard do we want the rebounds? Like, are we, like, actually boxing out? Are we being physical? Like, are we really fronting the man to get the rebound? Because I don't care how many rebounds Julius Randle's averaging if we don't really want it this game. It all comes down to this game. How are we this game? Are we fighting hard on the road in Charlotte? And if they want it more than us, they're going to be able to get boards. LaMelo Ball is an underrated rebounder. He has length. This is not a small basketball club. But yeah, Gordon Hayward, he could knock it down from mid-range territory. He could attack the basket. He could break you down off the dribble a little bit. He could shoot it from beyond the arc. He's good at coming off the screens and just creating separation, and he really knows how to utilize those screens. But I do think RJ Barrett's going to be solid on defense up against Gordon Hayward. Hopefully Gordon Hayward doesn't drop 30. You could say RJ's kind of fallen off lately on the defense side of the basketball, but I think this is going to be a solid matchup. But in a matchup I'm very excited to see is the 4 position. You're going to have Miles Bridges up against Julius Randle. And I'm interested to see this because I do think Randle has tons of talent. It's just like, it all comes down to his basketball IQ. Is he playing within the offense? Is he forcing things? Because I feel like when he's playing within the offense, shooting catch and shoot threes, and he's not just looking to break someone down off their dribble all the time, because I feel like that's where the offense goes wrong. When he's really trying to do too much off the dribble, and then he settles for a bad shot, and it's just a wasted possession. But Randle, he's been better on the defense side of the basketball. Just his offense, he needs to make quicker decisions, and Miles Bridges is going to be a very tough assignment. Miles Bridges is an extremely great athlete. He's strong. Julius Randle is stronger, and Randle does have the height advantage, but Bridges could blow by anyone and just throw down a ferocious dunk. He's known for having crazy posters in his career, but he's even had a deeper bag as well, pulling up from mid-range territory, pulling up from the outside, even though he hasn't really shot it well. But he's a most improved player candidate so far throughout, like, this early NBA season, averaging 21 points per game. I've been really surprised with him. His handle's better, his distributing of the basketball. So Randle's definitely going to have to bring his A game defensively. He's going to have to look to be physical. He's like, this overall Knicks team is going to have to get into the heads of this young Hornets team. They're going to have to play hard. They're going to have to look like an old-fashioned or a Tom Thibodeau run team. And we're going to have to consistently move the ball. If we have a lead in this game, the third quarter is huge. The third quarter is just how we set the tone for the whole game, it feels like. We're just always stagnant offensively in the third quarter. The ball movement goes away. leaving guys open at the three-point line. We cannot afford to allow them to get second chance opportunities. They have guys that can score the ball. And Mitchell Robinson, I do think he matches up well versus Mason Plumlee with his length. We have to make sure that we do throw accurate passes to a Mitchell Robinson coming off of screens, really utilize that verticality, be decisive, be smart. But again, Rose is going to be in the game more than Kemba Walker, and I do trust Rose to get buckets. I wonder how tired he's going to be from last night entering this game tomorrow night in Charlotte. But I'd even get into the bench of the Hornets. I like Caleb Martin. He's physical on the defense side of the basketball. You can't leave him open outside on the perimeter. He's kind of a sneaky athlete. And Kelly Oubre Jr., I believe he had 37 last night, or might have been the night before. His offensive bag is much deeper. Obviously, he's been working with Drew Hanlon. When he first entered the league with the Wizards, he had a non-existent offensive game. He was just known as a pure athlete, kind of a project, who's a good defensive player. He has length. And everyone makes jokes about Kelly Oubre and all that, but he's been a baller this year. He really has been. He's shooting at an over 35% clip from beyond the arc. So we have to really look out for Caleb Martin, for Kelly Oubre Jr., and most of this starting lineup as a threat offensively. You could say their Achilles heel is defense. I hope we look to dribble penetrate. I hope we look to move the basketball, and we're really physical and make them tired. And hopefully we're the more prepared team, and our bodies are good, and we're very well conditioned. But Kelly Oubre Jr., great athlete, good defensive player. He's breaking guys down off the dribble. He's becoming more and more versatile, and I love to see it as an overall NBA fan. But this is going to be a tough matchup. The Hornets like to get out and run. They consistently move the ball. LaMelo Ball, great passer, shooting it well from beyond the arc, can dribble penetrate. Gordon Hayward, Miles Bridges, just his ferociousness on the dunking the basketball. The Knicks starters need to come to play. We cannot just rely on the bench, even though I do think Obi Toppin is capable of bringing energy off the bench. Burks is capable of getting buckets. I think Quakley's starting to break out of his slump, or he has broken out of his slump. But the Knicks need to play discipline. We got to play good 48 minutes of basketball. We cannot afford to have a bad third quarter. We cannot start this game from behind, because it doesn't even matter if we fight back with this Knicks club, because we cannot get stops defensively. We have to be solid on the dribble penetration. We have to send help for Kemba, which sucks because then it's harder to guard the three-point line. We have to close out harder. But let me know down below your thoughts and analysis, and peace out, yo.